So I'm going to record a series of videos, and we'll call it Tales from the Backyard Gang. And these are going to be just remembrances from when I had trips with my mom and as Wendy Hopkins and the Backyard Gang, and the crazy things that we did. So there'll be just different blicks from different blicks, German, different looks from different years and memories that are fond. And it's a way for me to help you remember the woman that I call Mom, and that how special she was and what she did. So right now I am in Germany, and my mom passed away 8 days ago, Feb 20th, at local time here in Germany, around 1710. And so we've got a candle burning there. And we picked that up at Sacré-Cœur Church in Paris, where Mom and Bob were back in 2019. I'd sent them to Paris, France to enjoy a nice vacation. 3 nights, 4 days, 3 nights there. And they had a nice time. Funny story about the steps. I'll bring that up later. So we've got the candle that's been burning on and off, but today, the 8th day, it's been burning since this morning. So a way to send prayers to heaven and prayers to my mom, and then all those who have gone before me. So that is the story of, or the gist of these different videos. And so I'm just going to lay into the first video. And I believe I'm going to share the one from when we were at a young pioneer camp in what was then the Soviet Union, the USSR, and that was the year 1988, and it was the second half of July. And the Young Pioneer Camp was down in Yalta, so the Crimea, which now, if you follow the news, you know that Russia has taken that back in 2014, and there's still a lot of fighting, and that happened there at that location, that part of the world. But we were there as guests of the Soviet government, and we were singing Christian songs and passing out Bibles that were in English and Russian. So it was just an amazing time. So we were at the Young Pioneer Camp, and had the day before it had enjoyed a nice beach day on the Black Sea. And a rock beach was something new for me. Never had experienced it. Been to a lot of different beaches, even Hawaii, but never a rock beach. I'm sure Hawaii's got a rock beach or two with all the lava and the volcanoes, but I've only seen sand. There's lots of different colors, but never rocks. And it was just a nice time there, just enjoying a day kind of down, rest. Then the next day we all get in the bus, head off to the Young Pioneer Camp, and we're waiting for a concert. And some higher up, I don't know at what level, what rank he was, but he was high up ranked in the full uniform dress, the hat, the epaulets on the shoulders. And he showed up and said, "There'll be no concert. You can't sing about God here." And my mom, she's this tall, right? Blonde hair, blue eyes, just bubbly, smiley. And hi, yeah, we're the Wendy Hopkins and the Backyard Gang. And the government translator guide, who was everywhere we went, was next to my mom trying to translate. And he just standing there. I just remember his head shaking. I was with my mom a lot of times. My father was there as well, but my dad just stayed back, and he said, "Wendy, go work your magic," right? And because my dad he functioned in a different way, but they were a good team. But he had a different role and a different function, and this was not his role, because we needed the officer, the high-ranking officer, to feel what we were about, right? And so it's not logic, and so that's mom's role. Mom could get a no turn to a yes. It was just amazing. It was a gift. But I think I know the gift came from God, and it's God's spirit just kind of flowed through her, and she gave him a teddy bear. And as soon as she gave him a teddy bear, this is a very serious man, and had a very serious face on, and he said no, and blah 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 blah. And Russian, anyways, when you speak it, even when you're not angry, you sound angry. And we were all, oh, whoa, whoa, what's going on here? You know, this was set up by the Russian government, by the Soviet government, and everything's approved, and we don't understand what's happening. And so then, my mom gave him the teddy bear, and that was the opening salvo. And because the whole audience saw this very serious man, and you're in an amphitheater. So all the students are on the hill overlooking the stage where we're at. And you can imagine in South Russia or Soviet Union on the Black Sea, part of Ukraine at that time, and some would argue still part of Ukraine. And we saw the kids. Oh, I don't know. There must have been 1,000 kids at the Young Pioneer Camp, the equivalent of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts in the U.S. And so 1,000 of them all of a sudden started to laugh at this very serious man, and got a teddy bear from my mom. And then my mom wasn't distracted by the crowd or the kids. She kept focused on the high-ranking officer, and as well as I did. And then she just went up to him and hugged him. Now, I'm just 5'8.5" or something like that. With age, you shrink a little bit. I used to be close to 5'9", but or just around 5'8", 172 centimeters. That's what I am. And this guy, he was over 6 foot. So he's a big man. And then my mom comes up to me on right here. She's 5 foot. And so she just went up to this giant in a uniform, imposing man, and hugged him. And her head's right here about his belly area. And she just hugged him. And everyone in the crowd, all the kids, and now then the rest of everybody else around him, and he's standing there really serious, and there's my mom, just blonde hair, blue eyes, smiling, hugging him. And he had just gotten a teddy bear. He's holding a teddy bear, and she's hugging him. And what's there to do with that other than to simply laugh? He just smile came on his face. He nodded his head. And then my dad prodded the translator, okay, remind him that we have permission. And then my dad presented the papers to him again, and she was explaining to him what it was. He's looking through it, still has his teddy bear in his hand. And then he got the go. And so we got the go from him. And then we rolled out the sound equipment. We did a quick setup, and then we were singing. And then we handed out the Russian Bibles, New Testaments at the end. It's just as a miracle, right? Because he was canceling everything, and he was telling us to get in the bus and go away. The Young Pioneer Camps were the center of the Soviet ideology. And the fact that a Christian group out of America, the great enemy, was there singing about Christ and God and salvation and passing out Bibles was an anathema, was a slap in the face to the Soviet system at the time. And so it was really a miracle of God, and that I saw happen. I was a part of that miracle. And you just don't know how God uses events like this. And that's the beauty of not knowing. so we don't get prideful. But you just put yourself into God's hands and you allow him to work his love, his magic, and into the world. And that was the story of there in Yalta, in the Crimea, at the Young Pioneer Camp at the end of July in 1988. So, Wendy Hopkins and the Backyard Gang, Series 1. There's more to follow. Thank you.